Hello, everybody. Welcome to this English lesson where we're going to be talking about collectibles. We'll start in about 40 seconds. Let me just double check to make sure everything is working properly. I'm sure it is. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Sounds like everything's working the way it's supposed to. That always makes me happy, especially on a Thursday morning. So thank you for coming out on a Thursday morning. I'll explain in a bit why we're here on a Thursday instead of a Friday. We'll start in about 15 seconds. Hi to Key Park, Know That, Freddie Wolf, Mode Eggs, Hafiez, Lolly Lolly, John Wedge, Vitor. Too many names to get in before the timer runs out. I'll say hi to a bunch of people in a few moments as well. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about collectibles. Human beings are kind of strange. Some of us like to collect things. We see things and we like to keep it. Maybe we buy it, maybe we find it somewhere, maybe we put it on a shelf and then we find other things that are similar. People collect stamps, they collect coins, they collect rocks. There are all kinds of things that human beings collect for some reason, and in this English lesson I will talk about them. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about collectibles, all those little things and sometimes big things that people like to buy and collect and keep, I guess, just to look at sometimes. So anyways, once again, welcome to this English lesson about collectibles. Well, hey, you might be wondering what the source of this topic was. Sometimes I like to say why I have chosen a topic. So in my meetings on Tuesday, one of my colleagues said that they went to Florida and they collected a few seashells. They like to collect seashells. And then as well, this came in the mail for my birthday, and this is a bobblehead, and people collect bobbleheads. So thanks Mode Eggs once again for the bobblehead. Will it actually focus? I'm not wearing the same outfit this time like I did in the other video, but thanks again for the birthday gift, and thanks for the idea for a couple of English lessons. So I go through my life, things happen. Someone mentions seashells. I get a bobblehead in the mail for my birthday. And then from that, I decide I should do a lesson on collectibles. That's how it works. That's the magic behind how Bob the Canadian comes up with topics for his lessons. I think you'll enjoy this one. Let me look at the chat though and say hi to Bridget, Unico, Trustworthy, Vitor, CS Team, Wanda Prado, Janine, Masood, Haki, Hafiez, Freddie Wolf, Lolly Lolly, Mode Eggs. Mode says, some of us had to leave work early to attend this lesson. Maybe that's me. Who knows? Yes, thank you for being here on a Thursday. I did mention I would explain that a bit. My routine, hi to Know That, John Wedge, Key Park. If I missed your name, Ulia, Freddie Wolf, good to see all of you. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. Why are we here on a Thursday? My first week of work is this week. So I've been at work for a couple of days, and then there's just other work obligations before I move into a normal routine. So next Tuesday, classes start and I will be in a normal routine. This week's still a little bit strange. I have something family related on Saturday and I have work related stuff tomorrow. So live stream on Thursday. Hopefully it goes well. Should we get started? Please use the chat to have fun English conversations. Let me check to make sure the audio is working. Let me check to make sure the camera's working. It looks like the camera's working. There, it focuses on my hand and then it focuses back on my face. Awesome. Yes, use the chat for fun English conversations. If you have a question, please use the form that there's a link in the description below or in the chat to ask the question. And please ask a question about collectibles. But here we go. Let's get this started. Trading cards or sports cards. When I was a kid, I collected hockey cards. A sports card or a hockey card or a baseball card or a football card is a card that has a picture of the player on one side. And on the back, it usually has more information and stats about the player. So I guess because I'm Canadian, as a kid, I collected hockey cards. I don't have any of my hockey cards anymore. I wish I did because I think some of them might actually be somewhat valuable. But as a kid, I collected hockey cards. You might have collected soccer cards, or you might call them football cards. Or you might have collected, I don't know, do they make them for tennis? I'm not sure. But Very fun. And then you'll notice they're called trading cards, sports cards. And then you also use the name of the sport. So you could say, oh, I collect baseball cards. I collect trading cards. I collect hockey cards. I really enjoyed my hockey card collection as a kid. I wish I still had it. I think maybe my mom threw it out, but I don't have it anymore. That's kind of sad. Coins. So this is a popular one. I have never collected coins. I do know people who collect coins where whenever they travel, they get money to use in that other country, and then they keep some of the coins or even some of the bills, like the paper money, when they come home. And then they might keep it in a nice display thing like this. This is probably a binder with special plastic pages in it that you can store your coins in. But a fun thing to do, I have a few coins from South Africa. I have lots of American coins from the United States. And I also have a few coins from other countries like Holland. And I think my in-laws gave me coins. Where were those from? I can't remember. I think from Haiti. I might have a few coins. So very cool. Coin collection. Collecting. Sorry, that wasn't a word that I just said. Collection isn't a word. You collect and you have a collection. Stamps. As a kid, I also had a stamp collection. The reason I had a stamp collection is because my mom had a stamp collection and encouraged us to collect stamps. Stamps are the little thing that you can lick and put on an envelope, or you might just make it wet some other way and put it on an envelope. In Canada, you don't have to lick the stamps anymore. They stick by themselves. You peel them off and put them on an envelope, and they have a value, and that stamp means you paid to send the letter somewhere. So again, a stamp is a little sticker. It usually has a beautiful picture on it of something from your country or a famous person from your country. And every country has its own stamps. So I did have a stamp collection. By the way, in this lesson, I will not be talking about like the strange words we use for the people who collect these things or what the actual name is, because we don't use those in English. There's probably a very interesting name. You can put them in the chat as we do the lesson. Bottle caps. So I had a friend who as a kid collected bottle caps. When you open a bottle of soda, or if you drink alcoholic beverages, a bottle of beer, you get a bottle cap. They're not as common anymore in this form. This was the form of bottle cap that existed when I was a kid, and they were fun to collect. We actually collected them as kids, but then we used them as play money. When we played with each other, we used bottle caps to pretend we were buying and selling things because they kind of look like coins. But again, a bottle cap, it's basically the cap of the bottle, right? So you have a baseball cap, but a bottle cap as well. And when you open the bottle, it goes ka-ch. There's your first sound effect for the day. Cans and bottles. So not only do people collect bottle caps, they might actually collect the cans or bottles that the drink came in. You can see here, this is a really old can collection, soda can, or I would call pop can collection. I can tell it's old because the cans don't look that way anymore. They look a little different on the top and bottom, but people might collect cans. They might collect bottles. Autographs. So I forgot to add something. People collect autographs now, but they also collect selfies with famous people. So an autograph is when a famous person signs their name. That's the phrase we use, to sign your name. They sign their name on a piece of paper, maybe on, like here you have him, that's Beckham, signing a soccer ball or football. They sign something with their autograph or their name. And then that's something people will collect. But in this day and age, people also collect selfies. They ask the person if they can take a selfie with them. And then maybe at home they get it developed and put it on the wall, or print it out and put it on the wall. But an autograph is the name of a famous person that you get from a famous person. I do not have anyone's autograph at all. Rocks. So this is the other thing that I did have as a child. I had a rock collection. In the area where I live, it's easy to find really unique rocks. Some of my rocks had sparkling parts to them. Some of my rocks were just white, or I had a few rocks that were black. I think I had a piece of coal as well. But a rock collection is something fun. If you regularly go hiking or go to the beach or go somewhere where you see little rocks, you might pick one up if it looks interesting. Maybe the way it catches the sun or reflects sunlight a little bit. Maybe it's just kind of a neat shape and you like it. So you might pick up that rock and add it to your rock collection. I really liked my rock collection as a kid. I also do not know where my rock collection is. I should really talk to my mom about what happened to my hockey card collection and my rock collection. I think both have probably disappeared at this point in time. Coasters. So this is an interesting one. When you go to a drinking establishment like a bar or a pub and you order a cold drink, or even if you're in a restaurant ordering soda or pop, they will put what's called a coaster under the glass because whatever you're drinking is cold and there will be some water running down the outside. You know how when it's really warm outside, there will be condensation on the outside of a glass if it has a cold drink in it. So they put a coaster underneath to protect the table or bar if you're at a bar. And these coasters usually have images on them or the names of companies that sell different kinds of beverages. And some people really enjoy collecting coasters. I do not know anyone with a coaster collection, but when I searched for coaster collections on Google, there were a lot of pictures of people showing their collection of coasters. So again, a coaster is just a flat, I think it's cardboard. It's a flat cardboard thing that you put under a cold glass of a beverage so that when the condensation comes down, it doesn't make the table or whatever surface you're setting it on wet. Hey, let's look at some questions. Let's do that for a minute. By the way, I think I saw in the chat someone say, collecting sounds like hoarding. Collecting is kind of a strange thing. You know, if you are someone who collects things, where am I here? Oh, sorry. If you are someone who collects things, yeah, you certainly like having things around. Here we go. From Know That. Hello, Bob. Was there anything you would have liked to have had a collection of as a kid? And is there anything you would like to have a collection of nowadays? Thanks, Bob. No, like I did have a hockey card collection and a rock collection as a kid. We also collected, my brothers and sisters and I, we collected the tags off the feed bags in the barn. So when we bought feed for the cows, there was a tag on the bag, just a piece of paper. And we collected those and we also pretended that was money. But I wish I had collected more hockey cards and kept them. I didn't know how valuable hockey cards would be these days. And nowadays, I am not a collector. I think I am too practical. I don't really find the need to have a lot of things. Although I did forget to grab something. One sec. I did get these from my mom. So when my mom was downsizing her home, she had these small figurines. These came in the box of tea when I was a kid. I'll show them more when I talk about figurines. So I could see myself collecting something small like that, just as a memory of my childhood. From Ruslan. Hello, the nicest teacher Bob. Is it popular in Canada to collect die-cast car models? Some people do. And do you prefer muscle cars or hypercars? I don't really have a car preference. In real life, I prefer cars that run well and are cheap to buy. I don't know if I would ever have a toy car collection, but I might someday have a toy tractor collection. That would be something that might interest me. Let's see here. From Young from South Korea. Hi, Bob. What kind of collection is popular among teens in Canada nowadays? I'm going to add an S there. So one thing I know sometimes people collect wristbands when they go to concerts, or you can collect T-shirts when you go to a concert. So if you're a teenager and you really like a certain singer or band, you might go to their concert and get a T-shirt, and you might have a few different T-shirts from that person or from that band. That I think would be common. And then the wristbands. I'll talk about wristbands a bit more when I get to that slide. Denis, hello Bob, do you have a special place for souvenirs you receive from all over the world? A joke. I recently sold my vacuum. It was just collecting dust. That's basically its job, right? I keep postcards in boxes, and I do plan someday to kind of maybe start to put all the stamps in a collection. So as some of you know, some of you have sent me postcards. If you look in the description below, I have a PO box that you can send postcards to. I think someday when I'm older, I'll start to remove the stamps carefully. I think you can steam them off, and I might start to put together a stamp collection. So it is fun to receive postcards. Yes, for sure. And then the postcards themselves are fun to have as well. Andrea, what are the most famous comics in Canada to collect? The same as in the US, like anything related to Superman or Batman or the X-Men or the Avengers. Those are all very popular comics to collect, comic books to collect. But hey, I'm going to get back to we have one more question. Here we go. From Mode Egg. So Mode sometimes asks questions on the other channel, and I'll use his question in my video. And then whenever the subtitles get made, his name gets spelled differently every time. I sent him a lot of variations of them in the past video. That's my favorite one, Mode Eggs. Hi, Mr. Hawkeye Bob. I couldn't think of a question about this topic, but I just would like to wish you all the best for the new school year. You can handle teenagers. I hope so. I think it will go well. As I was sitting in meetings this week, I was thinking, this is fun. I do really like doing this, so I'm looking forward to it. In the chat, Michael says, I'm collecting old farm equipment. My last was a 1964 Kloss Combine. Very cool. That's probably a very nice machine. I think they were like a lime green still back then, right? I think they still are now, but very cool. Okay. Key Park has little stamps and coins. Very cool. And oh yes. Okay. Let's get back to the lesson before I get too off track. Let's go from, what did we have? Coasters, cars. So this is not something I collect. This is something that you collect if you are really, really wealthy. So I'm going to assume none of us here have car collections. When you are really rich, maybe you're a multi-millionaire or billionaire, and if you like cars, you might go and buy cars. You might go to a car auction. You might collect really old cars, or you might collect new sports cars. I don't know, because I am not a car collector. I am a collector of old minivans, and I have two in my collection right now. But yes, if you had more money than you know what to do with, you might collect something like cars. People like me collect stamps and small figurines that they got from their mom. But there might, of course, be people in the chat who have enough money and might have a car collection, but certainly not me. You need a place to put them too. Figurines. So figurines are basically anything like these little items I was showing you. Did I show you? Here's the hippo. It's a nice little hippopotamus. And then what? Oh, there's also a turtle. So figurines are things like that. They can be large or small, but basically it's like a little sculpture or a little figure of an animal or a person. They're really cool. These are the same as the ones I'm showing you. As I mentioned, they came in the box of tea when I was a kid. And then as children, we would fight over who got them because every time my parents opened a new box of Red Rose tea, there would be a new figurine in it. I think this is a corgi. And then as kids, we would fight over who got the figurine. But a figurine, a small kind of lifelike representation of something like an animal or person. Fridge magnets. This is a weird one. When you have a fridge, sometimes the front of the fridge is metal. The front of our fridge, you can't put magnets on. So our fridge magnets are on the side, but you might get a fridge magnet when you go on a trip. When you go to a souvenir shop, you might buy a fridge magnet from the place that you are visiting. Maybe a business sends you a fridge magnet in the mail and it has their phone number on it. You would then put it on your fridge. And if you are like this lady, you might have a whole collection of fridge magnets. So again, a magnet sticks to metal. So if the front of your fridge is metal, a fridge magnet has a magnet on the back, and then on the front, it will have a picture or a picture of a place with its name or a business information from a business, and the magnet allows it to stick to the fridge. Kind of fun. Where am I here? Just checking hats. I have a small hat collection. I have 3 hats. I have a hat from the farm. Actually, I should have brought my hat collection. I have a hat from the Toronto Blue Jays. And then I have a hat from when I was a kid that my dad used to wear. So very cool. This would be a little bit more of a hat collection. So you can see this person really likes the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a baseball team that plays in Toronto, a professional team. And this person has bought a number of different variations of that hat. This is a great example of what collecting means. When you have a hat, it's not a collection, but there are different styles and colors. And as you buy all of those, as you collect them, you start to put together a collection. So this person has a really nice hat collection. You might have a collection of hats from something completely different. You might have hats from a football team. You might have hats from a racing team. There's a lot of different types of hats that you can collect. Now, I find this one a little strange, but it is pretty common. Maybe this is like an American thing more than Canadian or other parts of the world, but some people collect salt and pepper shakers. So salt, of course, is white and makes food salty. Pepper is either white or black or a mixture and makes food a little spicier or tastier. Not really spicier, more peppery probably. But some people collect salt and pepper shakers. So you see on this shelf here, there are salt and pepper shakers that look like mushrooms. There are salt and pepper shakers that look like small animals and eggs, and not sure what some of these things are. Some look like pig faces, but this person must like collecting salt and pepper shakers. And so I hope no one in the chat is a salt and pepper shaker collector, because I just was making it sound like only strange people do this. But some people really like salt and pepper shakers and they like to collect them. Seashells. This is more common. This is similar to collecting rocks. If you're someone who likes to go on vacation and you often go to the beach, you go to the ocean or to a lake, you might collect seashells. You're more likely to find seashells in the ocean, although here you can find things like clam shells and those kinds of things. So, but yeah, let's say you're going to the ocean and you're walking along the sandy beach. You might be able to find small seashells. So seashells are, of course, the shell of an animal that lived in the sea and either no longer needs the shell or is no longer with us. And you might like how the shell looks. Often a seashell has a really unique shape. They're fun to look at. Sometimes a seashell has parts that are shiny, and they're just very cool and very interesting. I keep knocking my figurines around here. I should move those. So you might collect seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. That's a tongue twister. I almost said it wrong. She sells seashells by the seashore. There you go. Try that a few times if you're practicing your S's and your sh sound. Spoons. To me, this is similar to salt and pepper shakers. Not quite sure why some people collect spoons. I actually think my one grandma did have a spoon collection. So whenever she visited somewhere, she would get a spoon from that location. You could buy spoons. You also could buy spoons for different events. Like I think she had spoons from different like different events. Like if the when Queen Elizabeth became queen, I think you could buy a spoon to commemorate that event. And my grandma, I think she had spoons from Holland as well for some reason. I'm not a huge, I don't have a wealth of knowledge about spoon collection. Maybe some of you know better, but you could collect antique spoons, which are just really old spoons, or you might collect spoons that are made to commemorate an event. When you commemorate an event, it means you do something to help remember it. So you might have a spoon collection that commemorates lots of important events in the world. Stickers. So this is something that kids collect. When I was a kid, it was rare to get a sticker from somewhere. But if I got stickers, I wouldn't stick them to anything. I would keep them in a little box. So instead of sticking them everywhere, I kept them in a box. My kids have lots of stickers that they got as kids, and they put them everywhere. So again, a sticker is sticky. One side is sticky. So the same way a fridge magnet sticks to metal, a sticker has like a sticky glue type surface, and you can put a sticker on anything. Often I've noticed students right now collect stickers and put them on their laptops. So at school, students have laptops like computers, and they usually have a sticker collection on their laptop. Maybe something like this, maybe Pokemon, or something else that they collect and like to look at. Ties. I do not have a tie collection, but if you are someone that wears a tie every day for work, it's possible that you actually have a tie collection. You might have serious ties and fun ties and humorous ties. You might have ties that are from different sports teams, but if you wear a necktie, if you wear a suit and tie every day, you might have decided, you know what, I'm going to collect ties. I'm going to have 150 ties that I wear in all different occasions. So I don't have a tie collection. I have 3 ties and I only wear 2 of them, I think, something like that. I should get a new tie. I should get a Bob the Canadian tie. That'd be fun. T-shirts. So T-shirt collecting is often related to music. When you go to a concert, you can often buy a T-shirt from the band. Well, not directly from them, from the people outside who sell the T-shirts for the band. So if you like the band Rush or Def Leppard, these are some pretty old bands here, you might have a T-shirt collection because you've gone to a number of concerts over the years. So again, T-shirts can be collected. You can also have a T-shirt collection from something else. Maybe you love Star Wars and you have a whole bunch of different T-shirts that have different Star Wars images on them. Or maybe you really like the Toronto Blue Jays. You could, just like having a hat collection, have a T-shirt collection from that sporting team or from a band. Again, a T-shirt is what I'm wearing. I purposely wore a T-shirt today. If you go like this, let me go and do this. Let's see. If you do this, a T-shirt is basically in the shape of a T. The middle part's pretty thick though, but it's in the shape of a letter T. And it's one of the simplest things that people wear in the world. It's easy to put on. There's no buttons. And so it's also very comfortable, right? When you come home from work, if you wear ties, you probably change and put on a T-shirt, maybe one from your collection. Wristbands. So again, these can be collected. They're not used as much anymore, I don't think, because often now I guess they still are. Like if you go to a concert, you usually just show your phone and go in. You don't always get a wristband. Sometimes you can buy a wristband. There will be a special wristband from the event. If you go to a fair or an event where you go in and out, they'll often give you a wristband. So again, a wristband is a small plastic or rubber thing that goes on your wrist, either from the event you're at or as your ticket kind of to go in and out of the event. And some people collect wristbands. Some people will buy wristbands at every event they go to that sells them, and then they'll have a nice little wristband collection. I'm always sad when I see things from One Direction. They were a very, very fun group. They're no longer together, but I was definitely a One Direction fan in the sense that if they were on the radio, I would listen to them. If I went to a One Direction concert and they had wristbands, I would probably get one for sure. Mugs. Yeah. I hope this isn't a lesson where this is only stuff that North Americans collect, and now you think North Americans are strange, but people do collect mugs. They might collect mugs in the same way they collect other souvenirs. So when you go to Niagara Falls, you can buy a mug that says Niagara Falls on it with a picture. When you go to New York City, you can buy a mug that says I love New York. So you might collect mugs from different places you've visited, or you might have a different reason to collect mugs. A mug is, of course, I think it's a ceramic thing to drink out of, to drink hot beverages. I try to think of what the definition of a mug is. It's one of those. If you drink tea or coffee, you generally use a mug. In our part of the world, we don't use plastic glasses or glass glasses to drink coffee. I know in some parts of the world people do, but in North America, you either drink your coffee or tea from a mug if you're at home or at work, or you might drink it from like a takeout cup if you're getting it from a drive-through restaurant. But some people like to collect mugs. Antiques. This is another one that costs a bit of money. It doesn't have to. It's not like collecting cars where you need thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. But when you collect antiques, it means you collect things that are old. Antiques are things that people used 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, or more. You might buy an antique plate or an antique radio or an antique, I can't put my finger on the picture, table, an antique telephone. So again, antiques are old things, and some people just like to collect antiques. They like old furniture and the way it was made, or they like having a few old things around. I think when I'm older, if I had a little bit of extra money, I might collect things from the 80s, like video game related stuff. They wouldn't technically be antiques. I guess they would be, but that would interest me to collect older things that I could have on a shelf somewhere. I guess that's what you do with your collection, right? You put it on a shelf if you can. Toys. Some people collect toys. These are actually called Beanie Babies, I believe. There are popular toys that people like to collect. Often the fast food restaurants will give out toys like this sometimes to encourage people to collect them. What they really want you to do is buy hamburgers. But some people like to collect toys. They'll collect stuffed animals. Sometimes people really, really like teddy bears. And so they'll have a teddy bear collection. They'll have 5, 10, 15 teddy bears, all different shapes and sizes that they have bought and that they keep in their collection. So I do not have a toy collection. Well, it's not true. I think I still have some Lego from when I was a kid, but I wouldn't call that a collection. It's just in a box. But some people like to collect toys. Hey, let's do members only chat. Let me get that turned on for a sec. I do want to say hi to the 250 people watching. Thank you for coming out on a Thursday instead of a Friday. A little bit of a busy week for me, so I have to do this today instead of tomorrow. So again, there will be a shorter version of this still coming out Sunday morning, I guess. But yes, thank you for being here, and let's do members only chat. So this is a time when members can ask questions directly in the chat, and I will continue to answer questions from the forum. No, that says, this reminds me of your lesson with the stuffed animals from your kids, Bob. Oh, yes. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a fun lesson for sure. John Wedge says, video games is a good one to collect. Probably should start doing that sooner than later, but I don't feel like spending the money. That's the tricky part. Okay, from Know That, Bob, is there anyone in your house family who likes to collect things? Thanks, sir. Let me think. In my family, no, not really. I had an uncle who collected toy tractors. I mentioned toy tractors earlier. He had a really nice toy tractor collection. So a toy tractor is like a small metal version of the real tractor. So he didn't let anyone play with them, but he had them all in a room on shelves. And then I would just say, like, my mom had a stamp collection. I should ask her if she still has it. It was really cool. Very cool. Let's see here. John Wedge, let's change members to mode. Freddie says, I heard that when you hear inside the seashells, you can hear the ocean. Yes, I believe that's true. When you hold a seashell up to your ear, you can hear the ocean. Lolly, do your children collect things? If so, what do they collect? So my son has a number of different Lego sets that he got as a kid. So he doesn't really collect Lego anymore, but he does have some in his room. I also have one or two children that they don't collect shoes, but they certainly have a lot of different shoes, more shoes than I would have had as a teenager. From Ralph, I was late, but as a big collector of physical media, vinyl, CDs, mini disc, laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray, VHS games, and retro computers, Atari, Commodore, IBM PCs, I at least have to say hello. Well, thanks, Ralph, for popping in. Ralph is definitely a collector. If I was to collect things, that's what I might collect. Old computers. That'd be kind of fun. And old video games. That'd be really cool. Thanks, Ralph, for mentioning that. Hafiez, I wonder if Clearly Canadian Water is still around. I think so. Although I usually don't buy water. I get the free water in big jugs from town. Wanda Prado, hi, Teacher Bob. Is there any special name when you collect crystals? I have a great variety of them. Thanks a lot. There probably is. Like, there are actual names for all this, and I didn't add it to the lesson. My loud keyboard. So Flatley is collecting stamps. Like, we don't use those words in everyday English. And then what is collecting coins called? Like, I have to look them up. Numismatics is the collection of coins and currency. Again, we just call it collecting. You're a stamp. Oh, I collect stamps. I collect coins. The real name is not familiar to English speakers or used at all. So I don't know about crystals. You would have to check. Freddie Wolf, a lot of people are collecting sneakers branded with well-known sports stars. They're kind of expensive and their wealth is growing very fast. Yes, that has become quite popular, hasn't it? Know that. Does the term collector's item refer to anything that can be collected, Bob? Or is it only used for specific thing, object in a collection? So if you went to a yard sale or garage sale, like when someone sells stuff on their front lawn on a Saturday, they might have a table and have some collector's items on it. So they would have like some trading cards, some sports cards, some bottle caps. So anything I'm mentioning in this lesson would be considered a collector's item. And that's the category we would put it in if we were selling it. Great term, by the way. Thanks, Know That. Know That says, and if so, and it can be used for anything, what word would be common to talk about a very rare thing or object? Thanks in advance. No, you got it right. Like collector's item. Like if someone said, oh, I found this old pair of shoes in my mom's attic, someone might say, oh, that's a collector's item. You should see what they're worth. And Know That. Sorry, Bob, I had to split up the question a bit. No problem. Hockey says, I like to collect coins, especially if they are old, and I try to collect them when I go abroad. Fun thing to do. As we move into the more digital world, it's going to be harder to collect coins, I think. Hafia says to Ralph, I collect vinyls too. I have lots of Frank Sinatra's vinyls. So they're talking about what we would call records or albums or vinyl. It's like the big black disc that you play on a record player. Lolly says, thanks for your answer. No problem. Ralph says, hearing vinyl is still the best way for me to calm down and just enjoy one thing in this busy world. Yes, I would. That's probably very relaxing. John says, John Wedge, hey, I collect coins. I have a lot from Brazil, of course. I have a quarter coin from the US, coins from Japan, Korea, Italy, and some coins from South American countries. My oldest coin is from 1880. Very cool. Very cool. As a kid, we found a really old coin in the dirt behind our house, and we were excited because we thought it was worth thousands of dollars, and it was worth it was a penny, but it was worth like $1. It was very common. Freddie Wolf, I still have the Asterix and Obelix figures that I collected a few years ago. I still have fun looking sometimes at those today. I might be childish. So I have a small collection of Asterix and Obelix. By the way, I might say it different than you. You might say Obelix. Of course, in French, you would say it differently. But yes, my sister bought me a few when she was traveling once. That was very cool. Michael Holman says, If you want to start a collection of old computers, I have an old Alpha Feed oh really, that I don't need anymore. You know, I wish I had kept some of the computers I had when I was younger, but oh well, too late now. Hafia says to Ralph, I have the Pink Panthers on vinyl. The vinyl is pink. Oh, that's a nice collector's item. Very cool. No, that says you're welcome. Mode says, is this a good time to talk about NFTs? I'm not planning to talk about NFTs, but NFTs are non-fungible tokens. It's like a digital thing you can collect. And some real world items have an NFT attached to it for authenticity. So a little too technical, I think, for this lesson, but good to mention anyways, Mode. Hafiez has to go. See you, Hafiez. Have a good day. Freddie says, I would like to collect diamonds, but my wallet doesn't agree with me. That'd be cool. Know that. Personal question, Bob. If I remember correctly, last year you had to drive one of your kids back to university towards the end of your summer break. Do you have to do that again this year? Sort of, but not exactly. It's kind of hard to explain, but part of the reason why I'm not around Saturday is related to that. Yes. Hafiez says, oh, NFTs, haha Mode, a term I'm too old to know what that is, but I keep hearing them. Yes, they were popular during, like about 2 years ago. There was a year ago, 2 years ago, still somewhat popular. Key Park, I collected candy papers when I was little, and I collected stamps and coins decades ago. If I could do some collections now, I'd like to collect coasters. That'd be fun. Then from John Wedge, oh, I also have some keychains that I get as travel memories from friends. Oh, I forgot about that. But yeah, people do collect the little keychain thing, right? Some people collect those. No, that says, thank you for answering all of my questions. No problem. I'm going to get back to the lesson so we stay on track. And then I will do, well, actually, let's do 2 of these questions quick, okay? From Winnie, are there synonyms for collecting? No, it's really just called collecting. Like, oh, do you know he collects musical instruments? Or he likes collecting guitars. He has a car collection. So sometimes you just state the type of collection that they have. And sometimes you just use the word to collect. Peter, hi, Mr. Bob. How are you today? Your live stream is perfect. Thank you. My question, what brand of car do you have? Thank you. You have a nice day. More, please. I have a Dodge minivan and I have a Chevrolet minivan. I am not loyal to car brands. I am loyal to buying cars that are cheap and in good condition. So let's do one more. From the Avril Lavigne fan, hi Teacher Bob, I'm collecting stamps on my passport. Could I consider myself a collector? By the way, Canada is one of my goals. Cheers from Brazil. Yeah, I think you could consider that. Although I'm not sure they stamp your passport everywhere anymore. Last time I went to the US, yeah, I don't think they stamp it when you go to the US. Well, when Canadians go. Don't quote me. Maybe you can ask for a stamp. Maybe someone here might know better than me how that works. Okay, sip of water, and let's talk about other things people like to collect. Dolls. Some people like collecting dolls. Dolls are, of course, little toys. Sometimes dolls are created for people to play with. Sometimes dolls are created simply for collectors. So these dolls to me look like they were made for collectors. I'm not sure any kids ever played with these dolls. So again, a doll is a small toy that looks like a baby or child that little kids will play with. And some people really like to collect them. And I bet you old dolls are worth quite a bit of money. CDs, records. So there's a whole list of things you can collect when it comes to music. And it kind of extends into movies and TV shows now. So you might have a record collection or a vinyl collection, or we sometimes call them LPs or albums. They're the original large black discs that are made from vinyl that you can play on a record player. Some people have a CD collection. Some people have a Blu-ray collection or a DVD collection or a VHS. That's the big black tape you would put into a VHS to play a movie. But some people like to collect them. If you have really, really old records from the 70s, they might be worth quite a bit of money, for sure. In the chat, I see John Wedge saying, hey, Bob, don't forget to turn off members only chat. I should make sure I do that so other people are able to talk. Thanks, John, for the reminder. just caught my eye as I was doing the wrap up on that last slide. Thanks also for telling people to increase the number of likes. Very kind of you. Okay, we're back to regular chat now and back to the lesson. Film posters. When a film is being advertised, when a film is coming out soon, there are usually posters, usually in the theater, sometimes at the shopping mall, sometimes even at a grocery store. You will see posters advertising or announcing a new movie. And these are desirable as collector items. Like, people really like collecting movie posters. Sometimes people get the original movie posters, but sometimes they just go to a store or they might order online a copy of a movie poster. So if you really liked Star Wars, you might have a movie poster from each of the movies that came out, and you might have them on display. I like movie posters. I don't have any art on my walls, but if I was to put things on my walls, movie posters would be something I would consider. Film posters, movie posters. Postcards. So this is kind of funny. A lot of you have sent me postcards, and I do collect postcards now, kind of by accident because people send them to me. I get about 4 or 5 a week. It's very nice. The address is below. But some people actually buy postcards when they visit a country and they don't mail it to anyone. So you can buy a postcard and write a message on it and mail it to someone. You can buy a postcard and just take it home and put it in your postcard collection. And then here's another interesting one. I know someone who, whenever they visit somewhere, like if they go to Italy or Japan or South Africa, they buy a postcard and then they mail it to themselves so that they have the postcard and the stamp from that country, and then the little authorization stamp as well. So a postcard is basically a small card, kind of a thick piece of paper with usually a picture on one side of a location, a city like New York, and it will say New York. And then on the back, you can write something and you can put an address on and a stamp, and you can send it. Very cool. I enjoy every postcard I get. I do read all of them. I know some of you send postcards and you might wonder if I read them, but I do appreciate them. So if you want to send me a postcard, there's an address below: P.O. Box 419, Smithville, Ontario, Canada, LOR 2AO. That's my address. It's right down there. Buttons. So these are kind of interesting. On one side, there's a pin, and the pin goes through your clothes and it holds the button on. And you might wear a button to support a sports team. You might wear a button that says "Vote for Justin Trudeau." Like if you support a certain candidate in an election, you might wear a button because you want other people to know that's who you're voting for. But buttons are kind of interesting. You can hurt yourself when you put a button on. You don't want to accidentally poke yourself because, yeah, the back is this interesting. It's like a needle pin, kind of goes through your clothes and then snaps on. I did wear a button once at school, and it had a magnet on the back, so that was nice. That was a little safer. I think that was a button. Shoes. Someone mentioned this. Some people like to collect shoes. Some people simply like to collect shoes because they like to wear them. Some people like to collect shoes that maybe are connected to a certain athlete and they don't wear them. They just put them on display. I don't collect shoes, but I guess I do have a shoe collection. I have my good pair of running shoes, my walking shoes, my farm running shoes, my old running shoes. I think I have 5 pairs of running shoes because I like to walk, and I actually like to wear a different pair every other day, but I wouldn't call it a collection. Michael Jordan, Lionel Messi has it. None of them have signed my shoes. I just have basic shoes. Actually, I have these shoes right here. They're Asics. That's the exact shoe that I have. Is it really? Is it really? Yes, it really is. This is, we're going to have twin day at school. We have a day where like 2 teachers dress up wearing the same clothes. It's usually midway through the year. So this year on twin day, I'm just going to bring my bobblehead. That'll be fun. Comic books. This has become quite popular. You can go to comic book stores. There are stores that buy and sell comic books because there are a lot of people that collect comic books. Comic books are any book that tells a picture, tells a story through pictures and words. So there are some really cool comic books from different countries, and people love to collect them. So I myself do not have a comic book collection, but I do have several Tintin comic books and a few Asterix and Obelix comic books. Very nice. Also, there's like Superman and Batman and all those. If you're a musician, you might have an instrument collection. If you play guitar, you might have a guitar collection. If you play violin, you might have 4 of them. Probably not, but maybe. It's probably more likely with guitars. If you play piano, you probably don't have a piano collection. But if you have enough money and if you have a place to put them, and if you like guitars, you might have a guitar collection. Certainly, if you're in a rock band and you're a guitarist, you might collect guitars. Watches. So you can collect all different kinds of watches. Right now, it's becoming popular to collect digital watches from the 80s. It's very popular for people to find old Casio watches and try to get them working again. Some people collect expensive watches. Maybe you collect cars and Rolex watches. If you are someone who has that much money, I have my Fitbit. This is the only thing I wear. It was $129. That's it. I'm not buying anymore. I do have a Fitbit collection though. I have 3 because 2 are broken. So over the years, the first one I smashed while working on the farm. Then the second one, I don't know what happened, but I think I hit it against the wall at school and it ended up cracking and doesn't work anymore. So I have a collection, 2 that don't work and 1 that works. But anyways, some people like to collect watches or old timepieces. Handbags. So maybe you really like Gucci or you like Yves Saint Laurent. Do they make bags? I don't know who all makes bags. I'm not obvious. Wait, there's an Yves Saint Laurent at the top there, isn't there? Maybe you like handbags. You might call this a handbag. You might call this a purse, depending on the size. Jen does not actually collect handbags. I'm thankful because handbags are not cheap. They are very expensive. But maybe you enjoy collecting handbags or purses, things that you can put things in when you go out for the day. Books. So when we talk about collecting books, sometimes people will